seen the topic for Legion of Mist stream, which is aim at improving combat is going to be the main issue there. I think that's what they're going to talk about, is improving combat. It's such a general topic, and there's one statement Max made on an interview with me that he got from somebody else, but it's something I knew since I was younger, and I always bring him up because he reminded me of this statement and how important it is to the hobby and understanding things. It's wisdom that should be reminded to everybody in the hobby. Gaming is personal. So in some cases, what you really do enjoy about something might not be what the next person enjoys about that thing. Some people really enjoy developing their character and casual dialogue in the game and really getting into the social interaction. But they'll just like it for improving their experience, just having fun, and developing the character. That's what they'll appreciate about it. I can go to the next person who would tell me the same thing. I really love the social interaction part of the game. But when you focus on when they talk, these are people that enjoy the gamey aspect of social interaction, not developing the character, but getting yourself a better place in the world, better off with a character, and a way of like looking at social interaction is to gain information, provide advantages, look for opportunities in what's said. And they love the gamey aspect of social interaction, while the next person might really just enjoy it for the fun of, developing the character and talking in character. So when it comes to like, well, what makes social interaction better if you're talking about both sides, right? You hit combat with this idea. I like faster combat, right? In that general sense. But there's some people that will tell me, and I appreciate this side of it too. I think there's a combination, speed and flow. And flow is, I would agree with anyone who says flow is not just speed, but it doesn't have to be going super fast if you got sort of a flow of things feel like they're moving through the fight. You're seeing things are going pretty smoothly. A sort of flow like that, I guess, in a vague way. Speeding up combat is straightforward. You automatically, that's less vague and clearly stated. So I like faster combat. And D&D, old school D&D had this idea of hit points being something where you can look at them like exhausting you. Where in reality, even though you're attacking, you're not really hitting the person until maybe the last final attack where you take the last of the hit points, and then you finally stab whatever the monster that you're fighting and kill it. Well, there's an alternative way of looking at D&D hit points. That means representing the physical body, and both sides are presented in their own ways and talked about throughout the evolution of old school Dungeons and Dragons, the TSR editions. A lot of games outside of TSR, I think they caught on to something that I think this is why TSR never just abandoned this way of looking at hit points. Was the more it's attached to the physical, and the more damage can be, explained in a very effective, on the edge way of explaining like what's happening. If you're taking a lot of hit points of damage, that means your body's getting carved up, right? It helps the imagination picture when you're describing damage, physical damage, attacks on the body, stuff like this. And it's easy to avoid being repetitive. Just pay attention to yourself. Like if you're repeating something, well, next time you can't say that again, right? It's not hard to get into a habit of making sure you're not repetitive on something, so that's never an issue. I find it better for details. Now, I find it faster and works better when the DM describes the outcome of the attack, say, of the player character. Because first off, there's an authority with the game master. If you're someone like me who's a little out there, if you say a detail when you're describing an outcome, if you're the type that wants your players to listen, like I want my players to listen, because if I say something that should maybe affect the monster, give an advantage to the player character, my player characters know to listen because I purposely want them to, because I want them to catch not missteps. I'm going with what I feel. So if what I feel causes an opportunity, I really don't. I just don't see that as a bad thing for the player. I want players to pick up on it. So I have authority, am quick. I can get straight to the description, no asking players to do the job. I find the players listening, since they're so used to listening to me, the game master, describe things for the point of moving the imagination along, it works better on this. It's more effective overall to hear me explain the outcome quickly. What I do is I allow players to describe their attack initially. Because damage is a lot easier to manufacture and be less repetitive if you hear the details of the attack, even if it's at the body. Like I swing it this way, I'm swinging, whatever. You take the attack, and simply, if it's successful, you continue it to whatever you imagine the outcome of that attack to be. Pretty simple, straightforward. But again, any details you throw in there, like blood pours on the ground, blood squirting out of the head of, like, where the head was on the goblin's body that you just chopped off. Like, I want players to hear sicko stuff and be able to and have that brutality painted in their mind about combat. So I think fast delivery of basic actions, because it's a lot easier to say, well, you're already going to say what you're doing for your turn, right? All I'm doing is getting you to answer a real quick question, like, you're swinging the sword, how you swinging the sword. Give me the pinch of flavor. It takes almost it's a lot easier on players too. It's not complicated to say you're going to do something either fancy or you know what I mean, just straight at it. I'm just going straight. I'm swinging like for a home run, baby. Okay, all right. I could for each way you might attack, I can think of a number of things that will run through my mind. Like, your explanation will already move my imagination. So in a way, you'll already give me the outcome, and then what I'll do is I'll deliver it really quickly, cleanly, and it will work well because players are more, how can I say, trained into getting used to taking my words and having the imagination move along. Players, they're on the other end, the imagination they have more power over is not each other, it's over me. That's why I tell players, like, look, I'm trying to think what you might be thinking. Like, these are instinctive things I'm doing. If you tell me what your intention is before you do something, like, I'm doing this, but here's like an outcome I'm looking for, you might think there could be like 100, man. If I tell him, like, he'll say no. It doesn't mean you get an automatic yes. In some cases you could. But in a lot of cases, it's I'm trying to look to give you the opportunity for the thing you're aiming for. And if you're telling me how you think or what your intentions are, part of that is me getting to know you better as a person. Because there's only a number of times I can hear you describe what your intention is to something before I start catching on to your way of thinking, which is a benefit to you as a player for me to know how you think. So you shouldn't need a game to tell the game master, like in Burning Wheel recently, there's parts where you got to describe what you're going to do and describe outcomes. Well, it's an up and down thing for me. I don't mind it. I mean, overall, I don't judge Burning Wheel as a bad game because it has all of that in it. And in some cases, I see the benefits of doing it because I can enjoy a variety of ways of gaming. But it's like you should never need a game to tell you to say what your intentions are. I don't know how many times I've seen players where I'll see them go to do something, and you can't just say like, and you got to be fair to the game master. There's no way you can say, man, it's like likely he would know what I'm looking for, man. In most situations, when I look at situations players give me, there could be 80 outcomes, 50 outcomes that are quite all possible. And I'm not playing the character. I'm still sort of getting to know the characters. So there's not an instinctive way of thinking towards the character when you're trying to do actions all the time. So you all know your character better than I know your character earlier, especially in the game. And so there's still, as you're developing a character in your mind, it becomes real in front of us. You will still be more intimate with that character and who they are. So now you could say he or she wouldn't do something. You would just know instinctively. I promise you, at that stage, I'm still somewhat learning, so are the other players, about your character who you now know really well. So when you're telling me you should know my character would go for this, I might not. So it's just trying to be real with players that you're not always going to be in the vein of thinking what they have in their minds, their intentions. And it's not that I want to say yes to your intentions like cheating or making the game too easy, don't get it wrong. But if there's possible 80 outcomes, I want to know if I'm going to choose 3 or 4 you could possibly end up in. I am trying my best to actually get the one you want in the mix of possibilities. Right? So say it all the time, what your intention is. Do not be afraid. Do not think a game master is going to jack that thing away from you, or saying it is bad karma. It's not. Too often does it work against you that, I would say in some cases, depending on the players, 90+% of the time, if they do not say what they are intending to get out of something, even they wouldn't even hear a suggestion that was going to be the outcome. They'll hear something completely alternative to what they were thinking. So part of getting on the same page with people is the more you let them into your thinking, the more they get closer to being able to then predict things or understand things or instinctively know things. Like your game master will get to know you better and faster by you sharing intentions. Then at a certain point, they'll probably come up with options like, I was thinking this, and you might hear it and go, yeah. And he's thinking that because he knows you and other people might want something like that, but he knows that from time where you're being open with him, so he gets to know you in a deeper sense, right? And it's the relationship can start sort of new every time you're starting a new character with a game master, because I might know how you think with the wizard, but now you're going to play a fighter? Don't get it wrong, the education on the first one should still be mostly intact and working, but there's new elements that you're going to then present. There's so many different sides of us that we when I hear about simple statements like players and game masters getting to know each other really well, it's like life. It's not that simple. It never has been that simple. You won't just know things as much as you can get lucky sometimes, but I mean, a lot of it's not lucky. It's just, you can game with some people if you don't try to understand them. You could be around people you're around for 20 years and they do things that blow your mind because, well, if you would have paid more attention, this thing would not be shocking. But for 20 years, you didn't. So it is. Right? But you should not be guilty of having that issue. But a lot of people end up in that exact spot where they know somebody for 10, 20 years, something happens, and they're like, I can't believe he did that or she did that. It's like, well, if you were paying attention, you would have.